Hello everyone and welcome to Live at the Waterhole. We are starting off here at the fabulous Tau Game Lodge in Madikwe Game Reserve. My name's Kelly. I'm going to be with you for the next couple of hours. This elephant's having a lovely bath here. So anyone that's watching, please remember we are live and interactive. I love hearing everyone's questions, everyone's comments. Please send your questions through to wildearth.tv/questions, or you can scan the QR code on your screens. I do enjoy hearing what everyone is seeing, your thoughts, your comments. Send them through via WhatsApp on +27 786 30 2336, and we will get through as many as we possibly can this afternoon or this morning or this evening, depending on where you are in the world. You are all very, very welcome. I really enjoy hearing where everyone is as well. Deb Davis, good morning Kelly from the eastern US. Good morning Deb Davis. I think it's amazing that everyone from all over the world can be a part of these amazing feeds from these cameras. We can all chat to each other, we can all share our thoughts and ideas. The wonders of modern technology never cease to amaze me. Lovely little family of elephants here having a drink at the substantial Tau waterhole. Still got plenty of water in it. Beverly, hi, welcome. You're very glad to be watching from Estonia. We really are flinging ourselves across the globe already this afternoon. Beverly, you are most welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Yay! See, look how accurate that female was there with throwing that water. It was sort of a solid. You can do it again. Almost all the way over her back. What a perfectionist. I'm saying female. It's a bit of an assumption, but I'm basing that assumption on the shape of her head. And if you look sort of along her back, through the middle of her ears is quite straight, and then it's quite angular, sort of a bit past 90 degrees, but quite an angular head, and that's why I assumed she was female, but that can sometimes be a massive mistake. Penelope Kenyon, hi, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon from Sheffield Beach, Salt Rock in KZN. Everybody yoga studio. Is that everybody in a yoga studio? That's very cool. If there's a whole yoga studio of people watching this afternoon. Yes, they're all pretty grubby there. And as everyone knows, this mud, I'll let that little one's having a drink. This mud acts as a sort of sunscreen, also gets rid of any parasites that might be on their skin. And that little Loki at the back there, he's covered in sort of white dirt. Lots of the sand in Madikwe there is quite red. There's quite a lot of iron in the soil, in the ground there. But there is also some quite chalky soils there. So that's it almost like looks like he's got face paint that is drawn a line down the middle of his trunk. See his shine now. He's hiding his face. Holisani, welcome from Pretoria, from right here in sunny South Africa. Oh, we've got crocodile action. I've kind of watched these crocodiles grow up or out or along here at Tau. They were present when I was there 2013. I think I got to Tau 2013, somewhere around there. And they've definitely grown. These elephants are coming to a different. That one with the face paint is at the back there. Is catching up. See this one on the left here has got red. So he's been. Looks like it's wet underneath, and then he's got some of that red dust on him, and then this guy walking past has got that white chalky stuff all down his face and down his trunk. I actually heard someone say not long ago that, I can't remember what area they were in, and I don't know how true it is, so don't quote me on it. But they said sometimes you can tell the mood an elephant's going to be in by what colour it is. And they were basing that on what area they'd come from. So if elephants had been in an area that was not protected, so there was some conflict going on there, or there was hunting. For example, if the soil was very red in that area and you bumped into a group of red elephants, you knew to give them space. And likewise, if they come from a nice, safe, protected area with maybe much whiter ground, then they were probably more likely to be more relaxed and comfortable. I can't remember what the area was now, but it would make sense. And look at these little ones there in the thick mud. Graham, you're asking, can elephants see colours or only black and white? Graham, they do have dichromatic vision, so they can see colours, mostly sort of reds and greens, so not quite the same spectrum as us humans, as is the case with quite a few animals. But it's not a full spectrum of colour, but it's certainly more than black and white. That is an excellent piece of mud they've found there. Whee! Smallest one at the front. Like that croc's just chilling there. They're unfazed by each other. I wouldn't try it, Mr. Croc. That crocodile's been splashed and it's still not moving. That's lovely watching them.
We have just had our efforts paid off.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member and unlock exclusive bonuses and benefits. Enjoy uninterrupted, ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in nature. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Enjoy exclusive access to special broadcasts and videos, and help us to connect people to nature.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've Best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed colour.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
We are here with a male leopard.
What are you doing? Is it having a good scratch? Oh, he had a big lump of stuff fly off his trunk. And there's another very well known, I don't know if anyone listening has actually been to Madikwe. If you have, please do let us know. I would love to hear when you went and what you saw when you were there. But there's a very famous waterhole in Madikwe called Klo Dam, which translated from Tswana is elephant dam basically. If you've been to Madikwe before and been there in person, please let us know. Send it into wildearth.tv/questions. I'd love to know when you went, what you saw, what you thought of it, and whether or not you went to Klo Dam. It's spelled I can never remember, THLO? I'm going to have to write it down to see it. Yeah, THLO. Klo is Tswana for elephant, so it's basically elephant dam. And it's so entertaining watching those elephants come and go from that dam. This is a nice little family unit, and they will one group will wait, one group will come in. As they leave, the next one comes in, one leaves. It's very polite. Likawe, apologies if I've pronounced that incorrectly. How can you tell that an elephant is a male? It's not always as easy as you would think, in my opinion. The way I normally do it, firstly, is are they all going to a dust? Yeah, look, I was right. Ha! Don't you love it when a plan comes together? See, they've all gone for a nice dust now. And this little one at the back here is still down on his front knees. The way I personally sex elephants is the first thing I will look at is the structure. Adult elephants, if they're on their own, they're almost definitely a bull, a male, because normally you find females in family groups like this. The next thing I would often look at is head shape. Like I said earlier, the females often have a more angular head, the males have a more curved head. The obvious, this little boy at the front here is male, so any genitalia that's visible. But it's not always super easy to see. The female's genitalia is sometimes covered by their tail. You can't quite see what's going on at the back there if they're not facing the right way. Obviously, if one of the boys has got his bits out, that's pretty obvious. So the order I would sex elephants on is what they're doing, so who is where, head shape, and then genitalia if I can. Young elephants, I find it very difficult unless the boy's got his bits out, because their head shape is still forming to some. There's this little one just gone down in the sand. He's not messing about, this young one. I'm sure if we'd been here a bit earlier, he also just would have splashed down in the water, splashed down in the mud, splashed down in the sand, job done, layers have been applied. But yeah, that's how I sex elephants. But the longer I'm around, the more I seem to doubt myself. The more I seem to doubt myself about sexing animals, because you can get tripped up quite easily, and you say, "Oh, look at this male leopard or whatever it is," and then it produces a cub. It's like, oh, right, okay, I was completely wrong. But yes, short version, they are the 3 techniques I use to sex elephants. I'm really glad this little family group has proved me right. They went for a nice splash in the dust. Let's head over to, I think it was Wangi, and we will see what we have got over there this afternoon. Oh wow! I heard a rumour that we were seeing these. These are stunning birds. I'm just trying to think if I've ever actually seen these if I've got them on my list. I don't think I have. Grey-crowned cranes. I'm just going to check my ID is correct on them. Yes. Yeah, they are grey-crowned cranes. And I've never seen one of these. I think these birds are classified as endangered, although you wouldn't think it looking at this big flock of them here. Often there's incidents with these cranes around power lines. I actually met a friend yesterday who does wildlife surveys around wind farms, and there's lots of research and things that goes on into the impact of especially birds around things like wind farms or power lines to try and minimize the impact of wildlife in the area. But these are actually beautiful birds. Look at those lovely russet. Oh, there's more coming in. Lovely russet tails. So they do roost together at night. But it's not night time. They're obviously out feeding. I think that they're omnivorous. So I'm not sure what they might be feeding on here. I can't quite see what vegetation that is. I'm not sure what the topography of this area is. I don't know if this is a little bit marshy. They could be feeding on grass seeds. They actually strip you can see them feeding there. They sort of grab and lift to strip those grass seeds while they're moving around feeding. But this is quite a big flock. Yeah, I think they're probably feeding on those grass seeds there. It looks like they are. They're grabbing the stems, pulling up, and then stripping the seeds off. There's still more coming. Stripping the seeds off that grass. They are beautiful looking birds. I'm looking at a clear photo now because I've never seen one of these birds in person. Lovely red wattles and beautiful rufous back ends. The lower part of their feathers and towards their tail. Ellie, you're saying that air looks hot here. It does actually. It almost looks like a mirage. I'm not sure what the temperatures are up in Zimbabwe today. I think here in the low forward, I think we're probably at about 30, 32, which is it's quite pleasant for this area. But no, you're right, Ellie. I think this does look like quite hot air. You can see that sort of shimmer. So I'm going to try and count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think there's probably close to 20 birds here. And I've just seen here, they can be classified as an agricultural pest in the Eastern Cape, feeding on maize. So it just goes to show anything can be a problem in the wrong place at the wrong time. But this is a lovely big flock here feeding up in Wangi. The young of most of these, lots of these sort of long-legged birds, they're often pericocial, so when they hatch they are functional, so they can move around. They obviously still need protection when they're that little, but they can move. They're not like lots of the songbirds that when they're born they're these like little pink things that can't do anything for themselves at all. I learned many years ago that I think your lapwings, your blacksmith's lapwing, your crowned lapwing, when they're small, they're actually called runners, which is a very apt, because they can move around and they're quickly. Yes, Lichwe, they are. They're big birds. I'm not sure how much they weigh, but I would definitely say they're probably even heavier than eagles. But no, they are. They're big birds, up to a meter. And it's not until you get close to these birds, not that I've ever been close to one of these birds, that you realise just how tall they are. But no, these are definitely big birds. But lovely to see them feeding here up in Zimbabwe.
Join the Wild Earth YouTube superfan community and unlock a world of additional perks. Get exclusive early access or discounts to Wild Earth travel deals. Wear the best bush attire with merchandising discounts. Enjoy an interactive live monthly private safari. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Join the YouTube superfan community today. Step away from your daily stress and escape into nature with Wild Earth. Immerse yourself in the wilderness and become part of the natural landscape. Watch as everything comes alive. Join us as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with the wild.
short answer. So we're going to leave these beautiful cranes. Grey crowned cranes. I've never seen one. That makes me sad. But I think let's leave this lovely big flock feeding into the distance and head across to Elephant Pan and see what's happening over there. Ah, some elephants for sure. Look at all that water there. Wow. So this is Elephant Pan in Botswana, and the famous dam in Madikwe is Klo Dam, which is Elephant Dam, Elephant Pan. I must admit that the grass and the bush is changing rapidly here in the Lowveld. I know this because where I stay there's quite a lot of rocks, not quite a lot of rocks, there's a lot of rocks, and I noticed them, and then it rained, and then you couldn't see them anymore, and I was like, oh, excellent, I don't have to think about what to do with all the rocks. And in the last few weeks all the rocks are reappearing again. So the grass is dying back rapidly here. But there's still plenty of water here at Elephant Pan in Botswana. Look how these are elephants. There's a little foot dig there on the left. She's just stepped out of it. I wonder what that is, if this is just an area. See, look, that young one's going to have a look in there now. I wonder, that little one looked like it picked something up. I wonder if there's some sort of minerals in there that they're maybe eating. You're not eating anything there, you're just messing about in that hole, aren't you? But maybe that's these animals are using this sort of like a mineral. That elephant's not, he's just playing in it, I think. But animals will often feed on soil to obtain any minerals that they may be missing from their diet. And sometimes they do, they will, I think they are. She just said, get away from there. Yeah, look, see, she kicked. Is she going to pick something up and put it in her mouth? Let's watch. Breaking some soil. Kick. I just want to see if she is going to put this in her mouth, and then that will give us the answer. Or if she's just going to throw it on her head. Yeah, there we go. There's our answer. They're eating this all. How interesting. And how fortunate they found a nice little spot here right by the water that's got something in it that they need. I've got no idea what that could be. I don't know what minerals could be in there that they're using. Salt. People often say they use soil as a salt lick. Salt, sodium, potassium, and potassium could be, I don't know what's in there, but whatever it is, they want it. Ethan, you're asking, do the different soil types in different types of the world influence what herbivores choose to eat? Yes. Ethan? Shall I just stop at a yes? Ethan, I'm going to say yes, and I'll tell you why. Different vegetation grows in different soil types. So different types of grass grows in different soil types, different trees grow in different soil types, and what grows in different soil types will have different nutritional values to different herbivores. So if, how can I phrase it? If there's an area in the world, what we asked, different types of the world influence different soil types. If you've got a nutrient-rich area in the world with lots of herbivores, that area is going to produce highly nutritious plant matter, most of which herbivores will be able to get nutrition from. So they will choose to eat most of the things there, if they can, if they're adapted to do so. But in other areas, if, say, in a desert somewhere, and herbivores have to, and remember there's lots of smaller things that also feed on plant matter as well. So you could be all the way down to, small arthropods that are herbivores. They might have to forage under the sand to get nutrients, but there's not going to be much nutrients in what they find, so they're more likely to try and pick things that have a higher nutrient content than others. If they're going to use lots of energy to obtain some sort of food source, they're going to want to use that energy wisely and obtain food sources that are high in nutrients. So Ethan, I hope that answers your question. Brilliant question. And maybe you wish I'd just stopped at yes, because that was a bit of a ramble. Sandy Franklin 69, could they be digging for a water pipe? Sandy Franklin 69, could they be digging for a water pipe? I don't think so, because I saw her put something in her mouth. Once she kicks if an elephant, in my opinion, if an elephant's going to dig for a water pipe, they find a water pipe. They use their tusks, but to me it looked like she loosened a little bit of soil and then put it in her mouth. But you never know. If I'm sure you've been watching here very frequently, Sandy Franklin 69. If that's where the water pipe runs, then maybe. I'm not too sure. On that note, I think we are going to go somewhere. I believe there's maybe a squirrel somewhere, but I didn't quite catch where it was. But let's go and find out where our squirrel is. No, I think they're eating soil there. I'm 90% convinced that that's a nutrient lick feeding site, and there is indeed a squirrel at Lantoro. I saw one of these little squirrels the other day when I was doing this, and I think I was talking about something completely different and did not appreciate the squirrel. So I'm going to shush for a moment, and I think we should all appreciate this squirrel. And look at his little hands, paws. The thing's holding whatever he's eating. Look how dexterous he is. He, she, not sure. I feel like I want to go nom, 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 nom. How smooth that coat is as well. What have you got, little squirrel? See, look, and it's amazing. We could even see that fly buzzing around. It's so unusual you can get this close to these animals. I was actually watching. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this. Yeah, why not? David Attenborough, incredible legend of a man that he is. Watched the first 2 episodes of a series of his on sound communication in nature last night, and it was actually fascinating. Really, really good documentary, as you know, why wouldn't they be? And some of the camera work is incredible, and a lot of it was about how technology is allowing us more and more insight into the natural world, and how microphones can pick up different frequencies than they used to be able to 5, 10, 15 years ago. And who would have thought that all the way from Kenya we could see a fly buzzing around a squirrel's face. He's finding some stuff.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
South Africa's wild places are closer than you think, because Federal Airlines brings them to you. From the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet, we take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild.
I get to wake up every morning and go out there and look for cats. I get to create my everyday safari for myself. I grew up in the sort of central eastern suburbs of Johannesburg, fully qualified trails guide and a fully qualified nature conservationist. I love the wild places. I love being in the wilderness. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had and probably ever could have.
Tails, and they sort of, I'm trying to do it, they sort of grab their tail with their little hand and sort of sweep it upwards. It's quite a grand gesture of, see my tail, and they groom and they sweep upwards with their little paws along the breadth of their tail. Very cool to see. So I'm sure this little squirrel is delighted that we think he looks so clean, Nina. But we're going to leave him foraging over there, looking for stuff and things in the ground, and head across to El Doño and see who we have got there this afternoon. We have a giraffe. I've never noticed such clear black knees on giraffe. Oh, are we a stretcher or a bend at the knee? Oh, it looks like we're going to be a stretcher. Oh, a little bit of both. I automatically go quiet when I watch giraffe drink, so I don't interrupt them. That sky looks a bit moody there. wonder what areas might get some more rain before the season definitely closes. We got a tiny bit here yesterday. But those clouds do look quite dark though. How's that for an iconic African scene? Anyone, if you want a screensaver? Iconic African scene. There's your giraffe. There's your, looks like an umbrella thorn with a ominous, dark, cloudy sky. Always lovely to see these giraffe having a nice long drink, quenching their thirst. Jeepers, that is a stunning image of a rhino with a little passenger. It's like oxpeckers there joining our beautiful big white rhino bull. I'm assuming bull, but I did this the other day and then they panned out and it turned out it was a youngster with a female with it. And I would base this on, is this actually the rhino that was here the other day? I'm trying to recognise these notch marks. I think we might have seen this rhino the other day. See that? Ah, right. He's left that chunk on the right hand side there. Almost looks like a triangle out of the ear. These are human applied ear markings. They're called notchings. And it's to help with identification. I'm gonna guess this is a bull. And I'm basing that on I can't currently see another rhino in the image. And very, very fat, wide, broad bottom horn. And while all rhinos are pretty large, this is, to me, an exceptionally large rhino. So I'm going to guess, and I can't see any back end or genitalia whatsoever, but that would be my guess. But let's see if I'm right or wrong. I'm not sure if anyone was with me the other day when I was discussing how velvety soft the outside nostrils of a rhino are. I've had the fortune of touching those outside nostrils of a rhino when I was working on a project, or helping with a project in Madikwe many years ago. Super, super soft, the outside of that muzzle. Those little sticky outy bits, they're like velvet. Daniel Sophia, you're saying red-billed oxpeckers having a picnic. Yes, they absolutely are. I didn't even guess at red-billed oxpeckers because I can't see them. I'm going to assume they probably are. But that's why I just went for oxpeckers. But they are indeed having a picnic. Very useful for parasite removal. They can also sometimes keep wounds open, but as a rule, it's a fairly sound relationship that many of these animals have with rhinos. Picking at parasites, and I like the way they sort of almost stick to the side of these animals. With that very clear foot structure, those zygodactylus feet helps them to cling on. See that? There's not much to grab onto there. Oh, is he going to have a nice rub now? that is, I know all rhinos are massive, but that rhino's sort of almost got no neck. It's just like front of body that then turns into the back of a body. That is a huge neck. I thought he was going to have a good scratch then, but it almost looks like he's shy. Henry, would they ever notch both a rhino's ears? Yes. You see, they're going to do it again. There's another one there that I didn't know about. Let's see if I was incorrect in my assumptions. Henry, yes, they definitely would. I've seen rhinos with notches in both ears, and in fact, no, it doesn't look like that other one has on both ears. But so if there's a lot of rhinos in an area, those notches are, well, where I was, they were indicative of different numbers. So a round notch at the bottom of the left ear was a 10, a triangle notch halfway up the left ear was a 5, etc., etc. So if you needed to number a rhino 425 or something, you may well need to take notches out of both ears to make that number add up to the number that rhino was. So Henry, yes, they do. PB and jam, brackets, valance or valence. Thank you for your question. Do rhinos go into water? Yes, absolutely, 100%. I'm surprised you've never seen it on these cameras, actually. I've seen rhinos, like, I think black rhinos can swim. White rhinos, the books say white rhinos can't. I would think that was right because their head carriage is so very low because of that massive neck. By the time their legs are off the ground, their head's underwater and they can't lift their head high enough. Whether or not, I think it's more about not being able to keep their head above water rather than the actual action of swimming. Black rhinos can. And they often go into water. Come on, let's show them. There we go. Or are you just going to have a drink? Maybe just having a drink. But yes, they definitely go into water. They love wallowing and wading, and I've seen rhinos roll over like a horse. Basically, they will lie on their side, and then those little short stumpy legs wave around in the air, and sometimes they can get all the way over. Sandy Franklin 69, they do have very sweet, gentle eyes. Someone once told me that a good way to identify keen senses on a rhino is, on any animal, is to look at their features. So if you've got an animal with big ears, say a battered fox, there's a pretty good chance that they've got good sense of hearing. If they've got a big long trunk or a big long snout, good chance they've got a good sense of smell. Rhinos have quite small eyes. They haven't got eagle eyesight. It's not great, but it's not, from what I understand, it's not quite as bad as lots of people think. Same with elephants. It's not bad. They're not sort of blind as bats, as lots of people say, but it is a clue that their eyesight, I mean, they've got a pretty big nose, decent size.
We love all creatures in the African bush, from the biggest to the smallest, including the tiny little insects and arthropods, but some of them are not as charming as we'd like them to be. So that's why I trust peaceful sleep. And it lasts up to 8 hours too, so I can stay out longer, both at day and night, and not feel like I'm somebody's snack.
Every guide in Africa has been on an endless quest for the ultimate bush wear. Until now. Rugged Wear has a huge range of amazing bush gear for every wild situation. In the midday heat, those chilly winter mornings, in the storms of summer. Rugged Wear has the bush kit for every wild occasion. Locally made in South Africa, crafted with precision, stitched with quality. Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a salesman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
So we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Are two very different questions. Right, wait, I'm just going to look at a picture of an Asian rhino because I want to see what shape they are. So I know sort of roughly what shape they are, but see, you look at that rhino, anyone else that is out there, if you Google or have a look at Asian rhino, their heads are high, high, high. And I've got no doubt that they are going to be excellent swimmers. But these white rhino, completely different head carriage there. So I can imagine why that might not work out for them. Sandy, let me look. I actually checked. It was very interesting. I took some notes in this lecture on Tuesday, but probably not enough. What was really, really interesting was they were doing lots of genetic analysis using DNA that was actually collected from museum examples. So while, as we know, there's many areas of the world where rhinos have been shot out completely. Some of those specimens that were hunted for sport or whatever unpleasant reason it was, if they have been preserved in museums, they do still carry, obviously, they've still got DNA. If it was a real rhino, they've still got real DNA, and a lot of their DNA analysis was done from museum specimens. Okay, so this graphic I found or was shown during this fascinating discussion on Tuesday. Sandy Franklin 69. The answer I'm going to give you is based on this information that I have. So there was one. Oh wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was 9 genetically unique groupings of rhino across Africa. I think, judging by this, they're no longer found in 2 of those areas. But the question is, which black rhino have been located to which areas? So different areas: Kenya, Tanzania, Namibia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and then further up in Africa. Historically, so yeah, they're quite wide-ranging. Or the other way I could answer you, Sandy, is they like thicker bush. So how's that? This is a beautiful image of a rhinoceros bottom. You can see those scratches on that bum there, where they've obviously been having a good old scratch. And brilliantly timed, Usher is asking, if all animals can survive if their tails break, why do they have them? Brilliant. This is a brilliant question, Usher. Lots of reasons. Let's go through them. I'm thinking out loud. One reason would be, I mean, looking at this right now, this tail, this exact tail that we're looking at right now, this second, Usher. Firstly, it's protecting the bits underneath it. So females, obviously, if there's female genitalia under there, they're very sensitive bits. Also, males, it's softer skin, it's thinner skin, so that needs to be protected, obviously, around the anus. It needs to be protected because the skin is very thick. The skin is very thin around that area. So firstly, that tail is protecting that sensitive bit underneath it. Secondly, you see every once in a while it flicks. I think that tail is sporadically flicking flies away. There we go. Thank you very much, Rhino. On cue. That to me is I've got a fly near me, I'm going to flick my tail. So getting rid of flies is another reason. Another very, very important reason for tails is communication. Communication and body language. Many, many, many animals use their tails for communication. If anyone thinks back to if they've seen a rhino that's slightly perturbed, it turns up in like a little curly piggy tail. Very, very expressive. Many, many animals use those tails to show how they're feeling. Animals are very in tuned to body language, especially of the same species, mostly of the same species. I know dogs, vitally important to have a look at their tail. People say, oh, his tail's wagging, he's happy. This is incorrect. There are a multitude of different ways a dog can wag its tail, all of which indicate something else depending on the dog. So, Usher, that was just a start. Is that rhino going to die if his thin bits at the back are exposed? Possibly not. He might get a bit sunburnt, might be a bit uncomfortable, but is he going to die? Nope. Is it better to have them protected? Yes. Is that rhino going to die if there's flies around that end that he can't flick away? Nope. Is it better if he can flick them away? Absolutely. Is he going to die if he can't communicate using his tail, and maybe he has to be a little bit less subtle in his body language with other rhinos, and rather than just kinking his tail to one side, he has to sort of do a bit of a lateral display or some other bigger movement to indicate to other rhinos how he's feeling? No, probably not. Is it better to do it as easily as possible? Absolutely. So that, Usher, was a really, really long answer, but a brilliant question. So that is why they make their lives better. Oh, hello, piggy pig. Valerie Woolley, hello. Hi, Valerie. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate it. And I also really appreciate your question, which is if rhinos tend to migrate through the country or stay in the same region. Many animals, it's not necessarily migration, but many animals will follow food and water. Sometimes it's further, sometimes it's less far. Are rhinos migratory? No. Will they go a bit further south if the grass is better further south because there's been more rain there? Yes. And you say your son Connor plays this channel non-stop. Well, Connor, thank you so much for joining us. Your participation is hugely appreciated. Thank you so much for spending so much time listening to the channel. Thank you for taking the time to listen to all of us. Please tell all your friends that they also need to come. So wonderful to have you here as well, Connor. Hey, Mindy, hi. Hi, Mindy, how are you doing? Thank you very much for popping in. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for checking in with us. Thanks for popping in. Please stay a while. I think my favourite question of the day so far is ushers. This really made me think, because it's a good question. Why bother? Why bother if they can survive without it? I love these questions, and especially behavioural things, because the study of behaviour in animals is controversial is the wrong word. Everyone has very different opinions, and I almost enjoy that because it makes us think. You know, if someone says how much does a rhino weigh, then science has weighed 200 rhinos and it gives you a number, and they're going to weigh somewhere in the middle of all those numbers normally, and that's sort of the end of the debate. But things like behaviour and emotion is an ongoing discussion which I enjoy hugely. So thank you for all your questions on this beautiful rhino. Oh, it looks like some sort of wagtail there. Thank you for all your questions on this rhino, but let's head over to Aldonio and see who is present on our Aldonio cams. Just as the rhino wanders off. And he's gone. Hi, giraffe. I'm going to start trying to learn these giraffe, I think. I'm also going to be quiet for a minute or so because I realise I've been talking constantly for an hour. So I'm going to give you all a minute or so of peace and quiet.
Experience the magic of the wild on an unforgettable 4-night safari at Magula Nature Reserve. Hosted by the one and only Stephen Falconbridge. With Steve as your private guide, you'll gain incredible insights into Africa's wildlife, leaving with knowledge and memories to last a lifetime. Get hands-on with conservation, track elusive cheetahs, and even take to the skies on a hot air balloon ride. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive. The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Haina nchumo, haina maka. Emavokweni ya milu, haina maka. Lifasira mina ritapela, zatsemba Tatsema utatsamana mina.
So I don't know. Probably somewhere in the region of 10 to 20. No, less than that. 10. I don't know. Somewhere around there. But I tell you what, CER 50, I am supposed to be coming back tomorrow. So I will go through these scientific papers and I will find you some formal research and I will report back tomorrow the average number of babies that a female rhino will give birth to in a lifetime. So that does mean, Sir 50, you also have to come back tomorrow and I shall report back. I'm going to make a note of my evening reading. You see, Usher, if you're still listening, this giraffe can, would and do survive without their tails. But just imagine how many more flies would be around his back end there. Also, Sir 50, what sort of rhino? I'm going to find out information on southern white rhinos for you because there's probably most research done on those because I know they are researched heavily. So I'm going to give you the numbers for a southern white rhino female. Roughly how many babies will she have in a lifetime? But you need to come back to get the answer, otherwise you're never going to know. I think we should get to know this bull giraffe here. So I think the defining feature of this bull giraffe is, I'm going to take it as, if you look up his front leg that's closest to us, there's almost a triangle. He's got a splodge and then another squiggly splodge just across the top of his front leg, and then the back end of those markings, it's a triangle. I nearly touched my computer screen then to try and make it bigger, but I don't have a touch screen, so it didn't work. Let's try and learn this male. He's got that almost triangular marking at the top of his leg there. There we go. Nice view of that triangle there. Thank you very much. I'm going to try and remember this boy. Lesejo. How do giraffes establish dominance within their social groups? leading back to Usher's question, and on from Sandy Franklin 69, do giraffe use their tails to communicate? Lots of ways. It's not... Giraffe don't have a super clear social structure like a lot of the animals. I do often see males together on this camera, but they're all pretty chilled. I think a while ago we did see two males sort of interacting and doing that neck swings, those head swings. But if they were to establish a hierarchy, which I'm not totally sure they do, I'm sure if there's like 4 males, they would probably have some sort of understanding as to who had the most rights to breeding. There would be a lot done on body language and some sort of physical interactions, but animals don't want to hurt each other. They often communicate just using body language. And yes, Sandy, they would use their tails to communicate. Not, in the same way that warthogs would. It's not a follow me sign or anything like that. But tail placement and tail action are important in pretty much all animals, as far as I know. You think a lion or a cat, any cat, if they're cross, they will quickly flick that tail. If a dog is scared, they will wrap a tail or under their back legs, they will tuck their tail. I'm going to watch this giraffe's tail for a while now. There's not really any... There was a giraffe feeding in the background. I'm pretty sure they do, Sandy Franklin 69. I couldn't tell you any particular thing that a giraffe would do to signal any particular emotion, but I'm going to watch for it. I'm starting to merge my Africa Safari information now with my much more recently acquired animal behaviour information. I'm actually very excited. I can't remember if I said the other day, I'm doing a 5-day workshop later on in the year of literally combining the two sets of information. So what I've been studying around companion animal behaviour in dogs, how to understand their emotions better, and combining it on a 5-day workshop looking at captive wildlife, and a couple of other locations working on different wild animals in a captive setting, and using the two together. So that's going to be super interesting. So once I've done that, I'll come back and I'm going to be able to give you even more information on how these animals communicate. Mindy, do you think there is any correlation between the size of the animal and the length of its tail? Still here, still thinking. To a certain extent, because a tail the length of this giraffe's on a squirrel is going to be really inconvenient. It will trip over it. So from a logical, the tail would weigh more than the animal point, yes. I think it's more dependent on what they do and how they live, maybe. Because I actually commented last night on how incredibly long a specific species of gerbil's tail was, and it was much longer than its body. And I think all gerbils have fairly long tails, but I can't remember what sort of gerbil this was. But I think it's more based on how they live their life and where they are and what they do, more than actual size. This sky is still pretty moody. Okay, Nancy, you're asking, is Aldonio waterhole natural or man-made? This Aldonio waterhole is actually a man-made pan. Different areas have different water, or have different natures of water. That's not a sentence. Lots of areas will have more natural pans than others. It will depend on the soil type, it will depend on the rainfall, it will depend on the animals that are there. But often in protected areas, in game reserves, humans will get involved, conservationists will get involved to add water holes, because if, for example, animals used to have take the Kruger National Park. There's been lots of different techniques of adding and removing and maintaining and monitoring water points and pans and things over many years, ever since the park's been managed. And the more conservation and science understands about an area or wildlife requirements for water, or as preserved areas change, so the water requirements of the animals in the area also change, and conservationists and people and park managers adapt as they go. Sometimes they get it wrong, sometimes they get it right. See, look, I wonder what that sudden... Why is he walking funny? Oh, he's got an itch. He's still doing a bit of a funny walk there. Or have I just never watched a giraffe walk straight towards me before? So Nancy, that was another really long answer to a very short question. This is man-made.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member today and unlock extras and bonuses, like ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in your safari without any interruption. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Join now to avoid missing out on these amazing benefits. Help us connect people to nature.
Best sighting I've presented, I found myself with wild dogs. We chased the dogs around, chased them around. They ate an impala, we got the end of that. Then another impala went into Gowrie Dam down the road there, and the wild dogs went around. Eventually the impala came close to the bank. One wild dog went and grabbed it and then just pulled it out and just did what wild dogs do. It was an emotional experience, but it was very, very special.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations, and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Man-made, but you often do find natural pans as well. No, he decided not to go for it then. So Mr. Mr. Giraffe is having a good old think there. I think maybe let's give him a little bit of privacy. To oh no, are you gonna? Yes, no. Oh, there we go. I think I've seen more giraffe drinking on these cameras than I have in the last 12 or 13 years. It's such a luxury. Maybe we should start recording if they're knee stretchers or knee benders and find out which is preferred, and maybe a ratio of males to females. Anyway, he's had a drink. Let's head over to Tenby and see who we have got across at Tenby. I think I might be able to have a guess at who might be at Tenby. And I believe, yes, we've got some elephants at Tenby. Oh, I was supposed to find out how many females to males here, wasn't I? I did find a paper that I did download, but I did not read it, if I'm completely honest, so I'm going to put that on my homework list. I know what I'm going to be doing this evening. Sandy, enjoying the umbrella trees. Yes, it's such an iconic image of the savannah and Africa, especially with those silhouettes of those giraffe next to it. Mindy, do I think the giraffe's unusual gait is due to its high centre of gravity? Possibly. They're quite sloped as well. But I'm also thinking how camels move, camel bird. Possibly due to an unusual centre of gravity, shall we say. Possibly their physical structure of their spine as well. They're quite sort of elongated and sloped. Lots of swimming elephants. Possibly. Oh, hold on a minute. This is finally a family group we've got here. I think it is. Huh. I'll be interested to see how long this family group hang around. Because from the times I've watched, it seems that it's more often males here. And maybe the family groups don't hang around long because maybe they're bothered by all the boys. So let's see how long they... Oh, in the water. Let's see how long they hang around for. But yeah, that's another really good question, Sandy. I'm sure it's to do with their skeletal structure. They do have the same number of vertebrae in their necks as any other mammal, but obviously the structure of them is quite different. But the unusual gait. I wonder if it's got anything to do with energy efficiency. I'm really thinking out loud here, so don't quote me on it. And they have got very long legs. Even in relation to their... Obviously they've got very long legs because they're very big animals. But if you look in relation to the proportions of their body, they're also quite gangly. They've got quite long legs. Ellie, come on elephants, let's have a pool party. I think they heard you, Ellie. Heard. No pun intended. They are definitely right in there. Like I said the other day, I'm surprised lots of these animals don't spend more time in these pools though. Especially when it's very, very hot. I'd be in there all the time. So now what are these elephants going to do? They went in. I assume they came in. They arrived relatively quickly. And they've gone in the water. They've had a drink and a splash. I'll be interested to see if they do hang around. See, that's a big bull following them out there, and that's a really nice demonstration of size difference. So look, I don't think they're going to hang around too long. Let's just watch. He doesn't seem to be bothering them too much, but again, like we've been talking about, what may be imperceptible to us, species will be able to communicate very clearly. So, well, to us he's having a good old scratch there on the tree, which he most definitely is. He might have shown some element of over-interest in that family group that they weren't keen on, so they've decided to carry on their way by the looks of it. Scaredy cat. Lovely to see Tembe Elephant Park. It is actually. It's a beautiful place. And again, another place I've never been. But through the joys of modern technology, it feels like we're there. See, to me, he's following that group, which that little one on the left isn't keen on. And as we know, male elephants will often follow herds with adult females in to check for reproductive status, to see if there might be any breeding opportunities within that family group. And they can make a little bit of a nuisance of themselves, especially if there's little ones, there's very young ones in that group. If they get a bit too pushy, those young ones can get injured. They can be hurt in any over-enthusiastic interactions that may happen. Sandy, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy me thinking out loud. It's great asking the questions. It really gets my brain working, and sometimes I reach some quite ridiculous conclusions, but that's okay. That's how we can all learn together. I still maintain. See, that cow is not happy. Look, she's backing up. She's backing up from that male. No, I think they're on their way out. She's out of there, which is a shame because it looks like they might want to have a nice dust there at that sandy bit, but no. Amazing to see that size difference there, though. As I was saying, the more time I spend in nature and around animals, there are some people that do this show that have exceptionally good knowledge of all things bush and nature. Mine isn't. I'm not great with the lots of the scientific names of the plants and things, but behaviour, I really enjoy behaviour, and it's so subjective. What one person sees might be different to what another person sees. This female's going to move again, I think. And the more time I spend, the more I realise how little I know, to be honest. And what an absolute gift. Imagine if we all knew everything about everything. How boring would life be then?
If you're thinking about booking a trip with Wild Earth, do it. I highly recommend it.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member and unlock exclusive bonuses and benefits. Enjoy uninterrupted, ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in nature. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Enjoy exclusive access to special broadcasts and videos, and help us to connect people to nature.
She's still moving away though, but not super fast. But wow, yeah, look at that size difference. A bulldog, if we sedated 10 elephants and had well no, we couldn't really do that because we'd damage their feet. Maybe if we sedated 10 elephants and x-rayed their feet for thorns, maybe we'd find lots in there. I think that the soles of their feet are fairly solid, but there is absolutely, I'm sure they could get thorns in their feet. Thorns in their feet. And sometimes, you know, we do see animals or elephants that are limping a bit. That could be due to thorns. Ultimately, a thorn is plant material, so it would break down. Whether or not infection would start before that happened, I'm not sure. But it always amazes me. All these animals in the bush. I can't walk onto the lawn out there without stepping on something sharp. And yes, I have got pathetically soft human feet, but it stuns me that more animals that live permanently walking around on thorny things don't get impaled on a frequent basis. So bulldog, yes, it's possible. It may bother them, but also remember, animals are very good at masking pain. We see it often in our pets. Often people think their pet might only have some pain if they're limping or squealing or something, but often many animals are very good at masking pain because it's a weakness. And if one of these elephants stood on a thorn and then limped around going ow 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 while it was walking on 3 legs, it makes them vulnerable. It would make them vulnerable to ultimately predators. Despite being elephants, if anything is injured or weakened, it does make them more vulnerable to predators. Oh, hello, One Tusk. It might also, if it was a male limping around, might make them less attractive to females, making them less likely to mate with them. There's various reasons that animals will mask pain, so maybe it does bother them, but maybe they're better at masking it than we realise. Mindy, I have not touched the bottom of an elephant's foot. You have. That's very cool for a programme at your local zoo. Hard around the edges and surprisingly cushioned in the middle. I'm not surprised by that. You can see if it's nice, fine, soft sand. You can almost see the cracks and things on an elephant's feet, on the bottom of an elephant's feet. Very, very good trackers. Can follow an individual elephant in a herd using, and same with rhino or anything with a, if a animal with a hoof has got a chink out of their one side of their hoof, or a rhino's got specific cracks, or an elephant's got a little nick out the side of it where it's been damaged in the past. Trackers can actually follow those differences like a fingerprint. I can't do it, but good trackers are able to follow individual animals. So the hardness around the side is what produces those cracks in the underneath of the feet, and I'm unsurprised. The middle is quite cushioned. Exactly how thick the skin is on the underneath of an elephant's foot, I don't know the answer to that. I know it's very cushioned and almost splays a little bit as they walk on it. How thick the skin is, I don't know the answer to how thick the skin on the underneath of an elephant's foot is. But if you think, I'm looking at my hand. So, wow, even a small elephant's foot would be like 4 of my hands round, even a small elephant. A big elephant would be the size of 8 of my hands together, maybe. But if you think how big that foot is, it feels to me like that cushiony bit is cushioned, but it's got quite a lot of cushioning in there. But I don't know. I'm going to add that to my homework. But the whole thorn thing, no, it fascinates me regularly. How things don't get impaled by thorns more often, whether or not when they're eating them. And I know, they've got tougher on the inside of their mouths, and they've got, slippery saliva and all the other things that nature has given the animals to prevent it from happening. But ultimately, thorns are hard and can puncture things. And it surprises me that we don't see it, or the aftermath of it on a more regular basis. There's our one task. So that family group we were watching did indeed pretty much leave. They did not hang around, and as I kind of possibly anticipated, it may have been because of the attention of that rather large pool. We must maybe pick a point on this 10B camera and keep an eye on these water levels, because while there's plenty of water here now, I think this probably will drop quite quickly if there's not more rain in this area. And it's often very difficult to tell. I did it on another... That was a nice. That was a nice bit of body language, if ever I saw it. See, no one touched anyone. It was just a sort of, come on, off you go. I actually, somewhere I was driving, there was lots of pans, and every time I passed, I put a stone next to the edge of a water in a particular location, and it dropped over days. When it was very, very hot, you could see that water receding over the course of days. It wasn't even weeks or months. Sandy, are there any predators that would hunt an elephant? Yes. There's lions have been known to hunt elephants. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, there was it in Chobe? Somewhere in Chobe, a pride of lions actually became specialists in hunting elephants. If I've misremembered that, anyone is welcome to correct me, but I've got the fact that it was a pride in Chobe that learned to hunt elephants, and they got good at it. They never went for, the great big bulls. Sometimes maybe obviously tiny babies would be susceptible, but then they have to get through mum or the whole family group, which is not easy. But sometimes sort of juveniles, so maybe elephants that are sort of 5 or 6 or something, when I'm sure you've all seen it, they get to that stage where they start sort of hanging back a little bit, and especially the boys will go off and splash in the water on their own, and sometimes they get separated. So lions for sure. I'm sure if for any reason tiny calves get separated, unusual because we know elephants do have a very strong family structure. So for a tiny baby to get separated would be unusual, but not impossible. There could be many reasons it could happen. But baby elephants, when they're born, I think it was about 150 kilograms, which is the size of I'm just trying to think, what's 150 kilograms? A very large lion. So it's not going to be, we do know predators will hunt things bigger than them, but elephants are not easy. They haven't got their body shape is not easy. Oh, hello. Do we have some Inyala love going on here? Quite possibly. I'm just trying to think what else would hunt elephants apart from lions.
Join the Wild Earth YouTube superfan community and unlock a world of additional perks. Get exclusive early access or discounts to Wild Earth travel deals. Wear the best bush attire with merchandising discounts. Enjoy an interactive live monthly private safari. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Join the YouTube superfan community today.
My full name is Mpho Muthusi Tikani. I grew up in Soweto. My first animal that I filmed said to Dolt. Okay, no, it's my first animal that I filmed, I think it was an impala. Best sighting ever, I would say it was actually this year, 2024. But it was at this Cedric when we had Muluwati and TP on a warthog kill. I think we have to cut it.
Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions.
Animals rely on their senses.
Share your thoughts and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live. We are thrilled to announce our new exclusive feature for YouTube members and explorers. Join us live every Tuesday for our sunrise and sunset safaris. Experience Tawny Tuesday like never before with up-close encounters and breathtaking moments. Don't miss out. Become a YouTube member or explorer today and immerse yourself in the heart of the bush. See you Tuesday.
A couple of woolly neck storks have just joined us here at Tembe. Having a little grooming session. These birds, especially birds that are often found around water, spend a lot of time working on their feathers. They have to keep them waterproof. Otherwise those flight feathers wouldn't work nicely. Let's head over to Tau. I think we might have some nice waterbuck there at that beautiful waterhole at Tau. Ha, that's a nice image. Looks like that boy's got 4 horns. Now you see, these are 2 big, strong adult males. Both quietly sharing a drink. So I'm trying to see, was that a subtle bit of body language from the waterbuck that's now walking in front? It almost looks like he sort of gave the one that was still drinking quite a hard stare. Maybe asking for a little bit more space. But why wouldn't these 2 bulls? They're having a drink together. That's given me the impression of 2 guys going for a drink together. Why wouldn't they stand at the water's edge together? Because dangerous stuff lives in the water. So rather than being there on your own, why not have a bit of backup? And see, now they've given each other a bit more space. See, they've gone their separate ways now. So maybe it's an agreement they've come to that, okay, we'll wander down there to the water's edge together, have each other's backs, and then go our separate ways again. But not an ounce of fighting. No one seemed agitated. Maybe there was a little bit of a stare suggesting, okay, move on. And Usher, look at that tail going. Just imagine how many flies would be there if this waterbuck didn't have this tail. Would he survive? Yes. Would he have lots of flies on his bottom? Absolutely. I've actually got a bit of a thing about flies. I really don't enjoy them. I find them very annoying. I've got a fairly serious fly aversion. I get very angry if they land on me or if they're buzzing around my face. You would have thought I would have got used to them by now, but I have not. See how nicely these waterbuck, I believe, work nicely together, keep each other safe at the edge of the water, and then carry on about their day. A nice view of those Verbicina insuloides again, those yellow flowers that we believe we've identified now. There's some antifungal properties and a yellow crown bishop, I think, in there. They're in those reeds. Yellow crown bishop. As we often find in the bird world, beautiful bright colours on these males. Females a little bit less impressive. And then the age-old question of some of the birds like lilac-breasted rollers, where the males and females are both brightly coloured. Why? I don't really know. Again, some of the wonders of nature. Mindy, yes, you're right. See? Brilliant observation. You're saying that waterbuck's a good sized animal and yet his tail is rather skinny, like a warthog's. I agree. Hence my ponderment when you asked, do I think it's... that could be a female yellow crowned bishop, but I'm absolutely not going to try and... maybe it is. I can just see a tiny little bit of yellow eyebrow there, maybe. But there's a bird in the reeds there. If I was forced... there we go. Okay, if he's sitting that close to her, then I am indeed going to go with a female yellow crowned bishop. Beautiful demonstration of how different those two sexes are. High levels of sexual dimorphism there in these birds. But yes, Minty, you see, great observation. Why? Why is that? I don't know. Different functions. They live in different areas. Warthog need often stick it up to allow other warthogs to follow them through long grass. Waterbuck do not, yet they have a tail the same size. Fascinating questioning. And Ellie, yes, two beautiful waterbuck balls. I would love to be able to place a stone at the edge of this water and see how quickly it recedes over the coming months. We might get a bit more rain. I think a little bit of late rain is always useful. Yeah, we've got a lovely heron up there as well. Nice black-headed heron by the looks of it. Oh, that's a beautiful image. Fabulous camera work. Also super tall, these herons. And again, this heron will spend quite a lot of time preening, grooming. They spend a lot of time around water. If those feathers, especially those flight feathers, split, it can cause problems if they are trying to take off. So they have to spend a lot of time maintaining those feathers. thought of it when we were watching that giraffe earlier. He was just standing there chewing. And I would love to know, or would I love to know, or do I prefer it to be a mystery? What are they thinking? What are these animals thinking? I don't know if we'll ever know. We've done brain scans on animals to see if different areas of the brain light up in imaging when different areas are stimulated, if they're looking at different things, images of food and things like that. We see if similar brain areas to humans illuminate, but that doesn't really tell us what they're thinking. I mean, is that heron thinking, I'm a bit hungry, maybe I'll go and look for some fish? And we'll probably never know. Maybe that heron is thinking, there's another heron down there in the water that's a grey heron. Maybe I'm not going to go down there for now and I'll stay up in this tree. Who knows? It's completely subjective, which I really enjoy. See, spending lots of time working that preenor through those feathers to keep everything in good working order. Okay, we're nearly out of time for today. I feel like I've been talking almost constantly today. So hopefully if you join again tomorrow, I will of course hand in my homework. I will find out how many babies roughly a southern white rhino has in a lifetime, and my other homework, which was a sexual split between males and female elephants in Tembe. Sandy Franklin, what bird is that? This is a grey heron. The other one was a black-headed heron, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. And Deb Davis, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this afternoon. It was indeed very enjoyable. I'm going to go away and do my homework for the afternoon. Oh, and the other thing was the thickness of the skin on the bottom of an elephant's foot. I have my work cut out, but thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. We really appreciate you taking the time and sending in all your questions. It really gets my brain pumping. We look forward to seeing you, hopefully, or hearing from you again tomorrow. We will be seeing who is around on the cameras. Start making notes of your questions, and I look forward to attempting to answer them all tomorrow. Thanks again. Take care.